Good afternoon, traders and investors. Josh Walter here, filling in for Joel, otherwise known as Joel Jr., if you will. We're going to have on Todd Gordon today. Of course, he's the founder of New Age Wealth Advisors. Going to be talking with him later, but in the meantime, let's go through a few futures and a few stocks, starting with the S&P 500. Currently, we're down about 0.8% at 44.67. Once we started to break through yesterday's low and around this 4,500 area, it just started breaking down from there. Almost made it down to last Tuesday's low, but I've been bouncing back a bit. Anyway, yeah, currently still down 0.8% there. The dollar pretty flat on the session at this point after being up earlier, currently sitting at 104.82. Bonds also very flat on the session, currently sitting at 119.02. Crude is still enjoying a good run while we're waiting for the charts to load here. Crude's up over 1% at 87.68 currently. Does anyone in the chat, does anyone use interactive brokers, and do the futures charts just take longer for you to load? Because the stocks seem to load pretty fast, but not the futures. Anyway, you can let me know about that, chat. Gold down about 0.5% at 1942.30. Silver also declining again today, down 1.7% at 23.46. And Bitcoin slightly up for the day at $25,713. That's up by about only 0.1% after it touched that $26,000 level. Well, I mean, we can't talk about anything else today before we cover Apple. Apple declining more than 4% here. Coming off of it almost filled that gap last week, and now has just been declining. And the news on Apple, at least, there's some news out of China that government agencies were banning or the government agencies are banning their people for using iPhones. And in China, I mean, nearly everything is a government agency. Not really. I mean, well, we'll see if China's listening to this, but Apple, at least, leading the tech wreck here. Currently looking at the level all the way down at 179.50. And I mean, this is quite a slide after that opening action. And then we have a double bottom right around 175.80 on the downside. And then at least on the upside, it's a little bit more clear for resistance if we start going the other way, right around 190. And that's in Apple. But that isn't the only tech that's going down today. Of course, we have NVIDIA sliding as well. That's down just a little over 3.2% in there, currently at 469.86. I mean, we've been coming up against this $500 level over the past weeks or so since we've had earnings on NVIDIA, but we're continuing the slide in tech. I didn't find a specific headline that's really leading this, other than some other sympathy from semiconductors, which we'll get into. Levels that I'm really looking down right down to 448 or 449 just about before we really find significant support. Might have a little bit at 463.91, but we'll see if it gets down there. Also have to check on AMD. It's down not as much, only by about 1.5% today. There's at least quite a bit of resistance that has been established with a double top here in the technical levels, right around 111.80. And I mean, we've been in a nice steady uptrend for the last week or so in AMD, and so we might see a little bit of support right around 106.30 or so. So we'll see what happens with AMD. And then Tesla, also kind of a tech stock, kind of an automotive stock. I mean, they just passed their 200 million vehicles made in China mark, but still that wasn't enough to keep them from declining with the rest of the tech today. And they're down only about 1.7% after being down by quite a bit more this morning after that initial sell-off. At least for the last couple of days, that action back and forth has established a bit of support and resistance. Resistance at 258 and support right around just a little under 245. We pretty much tapped that today, and so that's especially going to be a level to watch on the downside, right around that $245 level. And that's about all the immediate levels in Tesla. And what else is sliding today? But AMC currently down 36% for the day. Wow. I mean, I hope none of you remained in this. I know it's a bit more of a meme stock here. They apparently entered an equity distribution agreement for up to 40 million shares, and so that's put a bunch of overhead weight on AMC, and so they're yeah, right back at the lows where they used to be before the pandemic there. So that's the update on AMC. And I mean, kind of meme stock related, we also have Overstock, and this is actually news of Bed Bath and Beyond. Overstock is expecting their revenue to decline quite a bit, I believe, between 10 and 20%, at least over a year-over-year basis. And so that is tanking Overstock now by over 23% here. Established a little bit of intraday support right around 1970, which doesn't. We passed through the initial double bottom, might even be a triple bottom, right around that $20.12 level. For the next level of support, probably looking at 1930, which it stayed above. But hey, on the upside, we have a little gap here, but right between $25 and $26. So that might be interesting if it gets back up to there in the near future. So that's Overstock. And then a little update on Ford. There is news. I mean, Ford's only down slightly after recovering from this morning's sell-off. The United Auto Workers are apparently going to send a counter offer to Ford's, and Ford's offer was essentially equated to a 9% raise instead of what they were demanding, which was a 46% raise. So I imagine they'll come to some agreement between a 9% raise and a 46% raise, but we'll see how that forms. I mean, lots of stocks have sold off from this morning and are recovering. But of course, who's benefiting from the run in oil? But Exxon gapped up a little bit, sold off, and now we're pretty much back at the highs of the day. Might be interesting to see here coming into the close. I mean, they're still only up by about 0.7% on the day, and we're watching the high of the day right now, right at 114.15. And then for support, we have this nice gap here, right around the $112.20 level. And I wanted to mention yesterday, Remax. They got taken out of the one of the S&P groups. It was the small cap 600, and so they gapped down big time yesterday. Today they're only down by about 1% from yesterday's close. But we see when stocks get added to the index, you know, they often run up. And in the case where they get removed from the index, I mean, this happens. Yesterday, at least it was bought up. I mean, it was quite a buy the dip opportunity if you were able to grab it under 14 bucks there. Anyway, that's Remax. Then we have yesterday earnings, Zscaler. It was a little bit disappointing in the earnings for there following their lower Q4 results, and we're down currently about 3.2% there after a bit of action in the after hours there. We're selling off again with the rest of the market today. And then in terms of earnings this morning, we had a PLab. I wanted to mention this one, even though it's a smaller company, it's still related to the semiconductor industry. It helps, I believe, make parts to help make semiconductors. It's all part of that process. And so anyway, that is probably putting a little bit more weight on Nvidia. Currently down about 7%. I mean, recovering from its gap down a bit, but we right now, well, it'll be easy to see where it closes, and that'll provide us a level of the gap. I mean, right now it's right below $22. Now, I just want to check, is Todd Gordon in the background? I think he's just getting ready here. We'll have him on in a sec. Just to quickly mention that AI play, I believe we mentioned this last week, but the ticker is AI. The company is C3.ai, and they're releasing earnings after the close today, I believe at 4:15. I mean, they've had a slight run up into earnings, but it looks like the rest of the tech rec has put some bit of weight on this stock. So I mean, we could see some action here if it's able to get above $34. Well, at least or approach $34. That's a level on the upside that we're watching. And then on the downside, we have a double bottom, nearly a triple bottom here, right around $28. And that is AI earnings after the close. And then, I mean, we mentioned meme stocks. I mean, a good thing Joel's away, because then I can talk about this for just a sec. We won't talk about it for too long, but GameStop is reporting earnings after the close. I mean, if you like to live dangerously, I suppose you can pay attention to the GameStop. So currently down about 3% today. And then there's also American Eagle, which is a retailer, releasing earnings after the close. They made it to just about flat on the session, just a bit, just about half an hour to an hour ago, and it's selling off a little bit there before its earnings report after the close today. But I like that we're just above the monthlies here, and we had the high of February, or no, is that yes, February, at 1709. And today we got to 1718. And so at least there may be a bit of action or a bit of support right around that. Well, essentially it's the $17 area there. And we'll see where that ends up. But we're looking at a double top here at about 1740. Let's see, it's Todd in the background. Let's see, can we, there we go. Hey, Todd, how are you doing today?
Hey, Josh, how you doing?
Good. How's your week been?
Oh, it's been good. It's been good, thanks. How about you? I just listened in the background, didn't want to interrupt, man. You were grooving.
Oh, yes. Going through all the news today. Yeah. I mean, I was listening to your last week's show, and you were talking about how bullish you were. Are you still bullish today?
Yeah, it's a little nasty today. Oh, wow, Josh. All right. I thought we were friends. Just
yeah.
yeah, no, I am. I don't see much that's changed, on the macro front. Rates, FX has been moving. Okay, so we got crude moving up. We have an inflation scare, but I think it's more geopolitical than than pure price increase. There's a lot going on in the FX market, but I think people want to be bearish on the bullish dollar headline, but you have to get inside the FX markets to understand So nothing's really changed for me. We're still just a
Okay.
day or two after Labor Day in the US holiday. It's still kind of trading like a summer session for me. So, I don't like seeing the NASDAQ down 1%, but there really hasn't been much sort of intermarket macro damage or technical damage to what I'm watching. So yeah, I'm bullish.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. That's good. That's good to know. It's nice to be bullish. I mean, there's a lot of or at least we covered a few dip buying opportunities, more so on earnings. And so I also saw that you were talking about stocks and bonds going back to their positive correlation. So I was wondering just what opportunities do you see that come from stocks and bonds starting to trade a little bit more in line with each other nowadays?
Yeah. Well, if you look at it, I think you're quite a bit younger than I am. And I mean that as a real compliment. I think since 1981, pretty much when, we came out of disinflation, we came out of the inflationary 70s, when the disinflationary 80s, 81, is when it really began. And that was pretty much when I was in diapers. But the bond market has been rallying. Interest rates have been falling since then. So as pretty much the bull market coming out of the 1980 recession in 81, 81, 82 is when the stock bull market also began with IBM and and all that. So stocks and bonds, my point is, for 4 decades have been really trading together. And there's only
Yeah.
been two distinct times when you find negative correlation, which is 2000 and 2007. Right. The rest of the time, stocks and bonds trade together.
Hmm.
So, not a lot of people kind of realize that. If you look at the whole, correlation is positive. So,
Right.
we got down
Okay.
to the zero bond with yields being really low, and we came up off. We were looking at negative, nominal rates, and we backed away from that. So are we going to go back down and retest that? We'll see. I think we're starting to get some visibility on where rates are. This is a deep conversation, and as far as you want to go into it, we can. I'm at the point now where I would like to see longer term yields go up. For the first
Okay.
6 or 8 months, I was saying, please, God, don't let the 10-year yield get above 4%. And now it is, and I'm watching how the market's reacting. And now what's happening, it's the interaction between long rates and short rates, which is, the two, which creates the yield curve. Now, I think the macro relationship has changed, and I think the markets are okay with 4.5, even 5% 10-year yield. And what that'll do is that'll take the inversion out of the yield curve, provided we don't have an inflationary spike. The Fed is likely on hold. So all I'm saying is I'm okay with longer term rates going up, provided those shorter term rates stay around 5%. That's gonna, normalize the yield curve and get us out of yield curve inversion.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. That's interesting. Yeah. Yeah. That is important too, to pay attention to the short versus long term rates. Um, yeah.
And it just changed. It just changed literally in the last month or two. It used to be like
Yeah.
perfect relationship. Yields go up, value is bid, growth trade sells off. And that's kind of changed. Now the value growth, that I brought to you guys multiple times, is more trading now with the 10-2 spread rather than just the 10-year yield. The macro relationship has changed. And
Okay.
I think the market's going to be okay with 5% 10-year yields, and the way it's trading, it might happen. And again, we can get in the FX side on the macro front, but wherever you want to go, I got a lot of fun stocks we could talk about, or anywhere you want to go, man.
Yeah. Well, just to stay on rates a little bit more. I mean, it's all fun to speculate, I suppose, but do you think we'll see any more rate increases, at least in the short term, by the end of the year? Are you putting any predictions out there?
No, I think the markets are like last I checked this morning, it was like a 42% chance of 25 bips in November. It's and no chance on September 20th. I think there's 10%. So I think we're at 40%. I think, the economic data has been slowing. We're seeing, PCE was very much as expected. We have CPI here, I think the 13th. I think it's next week on the 13th. There's plenty of evidence to show that, inflation's coming in. Used car markets, even some housing is coming in, insurance. There's a few sticky components within CPI and the core CPI that are coming off. So,
Hmm.
I think we're done. I think
Okay.
we're going to be done, but Powell is still going to club us over the head and verbally
Yeah.
abuse us and say,
Of
don't get
course.
too, oh, yeah, he's still
He's
going to be
gonna,
verbally abusive to us, but
yeah, yeah,
I don't think he's going to
exactly.
do anything. He's not going to say, yep, we're done. Have at it, guys. Party
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. Yeah, he's still gonna somehow say something without really indicating one way or the other whether he's gonna for sure change the rates. But yeah, so talking about trades today, have you been trading Apple at all in their slide here?
Yeah, I was actually I was actually trading futures on the NQ today, and I was watching Apple against what was my level? Was
When
78. I think what was the level? 80, sorry, 81. When 81 was just a technical level, it was the old August 23rd high. We got
Oh,
down to
okay.
181 half, and I really
Hmm.
wanted to see that hold. And it looked like we dipped about a nickel or a dime below that, and we held. Apple has been a little bit weaker than I would say than the broader market on the sell-off. But I think it's constructive that we held the 181 level in Apple.
Yeah.
Um, Nvidia
uh,
is looking a little. Oh, sorry, I don't want to change subject. Go ahead.
well, oh yeah, no, that's fine. I mean, we just have a question from EKS in the chat. Thanks, EKS, for the question. What do you see for growth in Apple or the other large mega cap tech stocks? Like what size market caps are you looking at for GARP?
So what? Sorry, what was the question? What kind of growth am I looking at? Like what market capitalizations or growth
What
rates or what's the?
what do you see for growth in Apple or the other large mega caps?
Okay, in terms of earnings growth.
I perhaps or maybe more fundamental wise, like maybe he's talking about
Like catalyst
rotation.
for growth.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we'll go with that.
Okay, yeah. I think the next iPhone cycle is going to be real. I think a lot of people skipped. What are we on? Are we on 16 or 15?
I think the 15 is the next one.
15 is the next one. I have the 13, and this is so anecdotal, but I feel like a lot of people skipped out on the 14. And I think the
Hmm.
15 is going to be real. I'm very, very bullish on their on their augmented vision, on their VR. I think it's going
Hmm.
to be real. I mean, I've probably bought, I don't know, 20 iPads for my three kids, and once they get the lower priced VR goggles, the VR whatever the headset into a more reasonable price, that it's going to take over their iPad business. It's going to change the way that kids consume content and adults and the way we act.
Yeah.
We act. I very, very bullish on Apple.
Yeah. Okay,
Um,
we just got clarification on the question. What size of market caps for earnings per share and revenue growth? Like Apple is almost too large to maintain their current growth rate. Um,
I don't know about that. Why are they too large to? I mean, I'd have to look. I don't have their growth rates memorized, but I mean, what do they probably grow in revenues? Probably 8-10% a year. I'm gonna guess. I would argue that I don't.
Somewhere in that range, I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, I would guess. I don't think that's unsustainable. I mean, look what Nvidia did. Wall Street was off by 50% in Q2 for revenues. Then they guided higher another 40 or 50%. They beat expectations. And you're talking a top five market cap company now. I mean, I think the AI space is real. It's merging with virtual reality, augmented reality. I think the two are going to meet. A lot of people were quick to write off what Zuck and Meta are doing. But
Yeah. I think you're right there. I mean, VR might just open up that new revenue stream for them, depending on whether it cannibalizes, any of their other sales, whether it's gonna, you know, eat into their iPad sales, or whether it's gonna just, add that whole new revenue stream.
Yeah, I think I think their Mac sales, their MacBook, their desktop Mac, I think those sales, they've had a recent bump. Those have been kind of sliding off. I think the iPad's been somewhat steady. When you have a new toy to play with, and the computing power that we're going to have access to with the chips, the experience. I mean, I was early on playing with Meta's goggles. I was actually the first to do an options trade on CNBC in virtual reality. I did a Meta options trade
Oh.
in VR and recorded it, and it went up on CNBC. Like, I don't know,
That's
maybe
awesome.
I'm just a dork with it, but it's going to change the way we interact. And I mean, this is the reason that semis have had such a bid in the market. It's not mining for Bitcoin. The semi strength has been pricing this in for years. And true, we took a sort of a right step into AI, but it's going to meet back into, and you listen to the conference calls, and it is all for augmented and virtual reality, and it's the chips that are going to power it. The bandwidth is getting incredibly fast, that we have access to. So yeah, not really where I wanted to go with you. Sorry, but I am very much thinking we're in, like, originally it was Web 1 internet coming online. Then we went into sort of cloud. Then we're talking about AI. Now we have, virtual reality. Now AI. I think we're going into the next growth phase for sure. Technically speaking, I love the relative rotation. Now you got to do the closing print. The growth, mega cap growth ETF, and I've got stats, I think I showed you last time, just moved into the leading quadrant. And looking back over the last 2 decades, that tends to last and stay anywhere from 2 to 5 years when that happens. So the growth trade just literally went into leading quadrant, which is
okay. Yeah, I know you're big on rotation there. And yes, well, let's continue going after the closing print, but we have about 20 seconds to go. I'll just share the screen so we can see in the S&Ps where we're going to finish. I mean, we're pretty much right back up at VWAP, trying to push here into the close, right around 44.71, about 5 seconds to go. 3, 2, 1, and there's the close. All right, closing print right at, let's see here, 44.70. Well, there we go. There's our closing print.
Why does he want the closing print? What does that signify? I mean, I know you want to know where the market closes, but why does he do that? I've never asked him.
So, well, if I can do my best to answer for him, going back and forth, it's you know how he does his levels with assigning different significance, like certain stars, like if a level's 2 or 3 stars or whatnot. Often the close ends up being an important level. Sometimes it's really important. Sometimes it's, a 2 or 3 star. Sometimes it's just a 1 star. But at least in the futures trading, that's a level that's important enough to pay attention to, because that also affects the 50% retracement. It affects the pivot levels and all that. So the close is important.
I got you. I'm with you.
Yeah. So yeah, what did you want to talk about today? What have you been trading?
I've quit. Do you drink coffee?
No, I'm not. I drink tea. Got the coffee. Coffee gets me too shaky.
Too shaky. Then you definitely don't want to be. You definitely don't want to be doing any of this stuff right here.
Oh, Celsius. Okay, free advertising for Celsius now, are we?
I mean, I might sell everything. I might sell everything and just hold Celsius, the stock. Like,
hey,
it's okay. I mean, it just broke 200. The last 2 earnings reports. I've been pumping it forever. I've been long for 6 months. The stock, they just crushed earnings, second consecutive time. You look at Monster, you look at some of the other guys, like the stocks are going sideways, where Monster just continues to go, and the fundamentals are just crazy. So, we're probably 200 at the close here. They just beat earnings.
Yeah, just above 200.
We didn't get to 200 close. Okay.
Oh, yeah, no.
I'm long stock from $103. I've got a 195, 230 call spread on that goes out to October, like that. I think they're going to continue to grow. Company is it's kind of getting popular on social media, and the YouTubers are starting to drink it rather than the Monster or what's the other
Prime
crazy
is the other YouTuber. Yeah.
Prime is the other one, and they're getting in trouble. Congress is going after them because they're packing too much caffeine in there for kids.
Oh,
So,
oh dear.
so Chuck Schumer's on them. So
Yeah.
they're starting to get a pretty active social media crew. And then the other one that it's a stock we've held for a while, and I think I've mentioned it, is AVAV. They just reported earnings last night. AeroVironment.
Okay.
It's a defense company, and they make unmanned drones. So it's a small company. It's a $3 billion aerospace and defense industrial.
Okay.
So the
Definitely up and
description is,
coming sector here.
yeah, especially with all the overseas tension. So the description supplies unmanned aircraft systems, tactical missile systems, high altitude pseudo satellites, and they supply to the Department of Defense in the U.S. But they just came out and reported earnings last night. So look at the consolidation this thing. Can you go to like a monthly? Go
Sure.
to
Yeah. Here's the monthly.
super long term. Yeah.
Can I expand this? Come on. There we go.
Yeah. So they just broke that 110, 112 high over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And then the earnings. So looking for 174 million. They came in at 152. They're looking to make 40 cents. They made $1. So revenues
Okay.
are up 40% year over year. Net income jumped 361%. And then they have an acquisition going on with Tomahawk Robotics. Supposedly there's going to be you allow them to scale, and they've got a bunch of business in backlog, and they are throwing the AI
Oh yeah, of course.
terminology in there. So watch that one. This guy's been in consolidation for 2 years, and it just broke above. So I hold both of
Okay.
those stocks. So watch those guys. Sort of
Yeah.
some fun small caps for you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, should almost it'd almost be worth counting how many times they say AI on on their earnings call.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, those are good. Question for you, being a skier,
Yeah.
do you ever trade Vail, MTN?
I held it for a while. It pays a good dividend. I really like what they were doing with the Epic Pass,
Yeah.
to go ski all the resorts. And they've kind of lost the script. I cut the stock probably 6 months ago. But I held it for a good period of time, and I think I lost money on it, MTN.
Okay. Yeah.
I'd let the company go. I haven't seen it lately. Have you been following it?
Well, ever so loosely. I check into it every so often when you hear, yeah, like the Epic Pass is expanded to so many more resorts or whatever. It's like, oh, okay, gotta check into it. But yeah, they're at they are right around $243 here at the close,
Yeah.
and
It looks
yeah,
like they
they've been
gapped up yesterday. They had earnings yesterday, didn't they?
yeah, yes, actually, yeah, should double
They
check that.
did. Oh no, did they get an upgrade?
Oh,
Steve.
yes. Yes, it was an
Okay.
upgrade and a
Steve
target of
upgraded. Okay.
268.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Okay. Yeah, I just thought I'd check in. I mean, being
That's
that ski
interesting.
season is coming in only a few more months here, so it's
No, it's
so,
I kind of like the pattern there, and Stiefel upgrade average rating 223. They put a $300 target on MTN, and it's trading 241. It's pretty
yeah.
impressive.
Yeah.
It's a good call, man.
Yeah, could have some potential there. All right.
Interesting. Yeah.
Well,
Um,
thanks for joining us on today's close and print. Glad we got that, and hope to see you. Well, at least Joel will see you soon, and the rest of chat will see you soon. But we'll talk to you probably in the coming weeks here.
Sounds good, man. I can't wait to travel up to you in the end of February.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, February is the ski season up here. So yeah, that'll be awesome. All right.
Cool, man.
Well, thanks
Thanks, Josh.
everybody for tuning in, and stay tuned tomorrow for the closing print with Dennis Dick. Of course, that'll be a good show, and we'll see you all then. Bye bye.